And we are live. We have a lot to talk about today, folks. It's going to be pretty much a one issue show, but there's a quick news highlight that we need to talk about. We're setting up for another show. Let's dig into it and let's get started. Good morning, everybody. I hope your holiday season is moving along as well as ours is. I can't believe it's going to be a new year already. I can't wait for 2025 to be out the door. I really can't. This year sucked. Oh my God. It's been a fight. It's been a fight. It was the only really good news I can see coming out of 2025 is that it's actually proven the fact that we're going to be okay, that we're going to keep punching away, and that we, they are not going to be able to scuttle our country or drive us into fascism. It was a scare. It really was a scare. But I tell you what, we're we're moving on. We're moving on. And it's because of the work of you people. It's because of the protesting. It's because you didn't put up with the bullshit. You didn't fall for the traps. You didn't. You did it right. You did it right. And just because we've got some momentum going our way doesn't mean the threats go away. So I've got a little bit of a story for you. We're going to connect some dots, but before we get into it, there's another story that I'm kind of working on, and I just kind of want to give you a heads up on. It's going to be a broader economic show. It's not something I can really do as kind of a sub story to a show. It's got to be kind of the main story because it really has to do with fake valuations on in on the stock market. It's got to do with how these corporations are just well. Let me explain. It'll make more sense. This is happening. This is going on. As I'm sure you're aware, the Cybertruck was a complete dud. I mean, it bombed. Last year it sold 60 to 80,000 units. This year it sold virtually nothing. I believe the numbers are coming in at less than 20,000 units that they've sold. Yet Tesla's stock values haven't really taken a hit. And it's because of the way they keep working the numbers. Wall Street is heavily, heavily, deeply invested in Tesla. Um, and they don't want it to collapse. So they keep looking for that information that they can glam onto, that they can hold on to, that everything is okay. And it's not. It's not. This is going to be a big deal. The fact that Tesla is buying up to, numbers are estimated to be up to 2,000 of it Cybertrucks. SpaceX is buying 2,000 Cybertrucks from Tesla. That's what's being reported. That folks, if they've only sold 16,000 units, that makes SpaceX their basically the only thing that's keeping them afloat. And here's the problem with it. What the hell need does SpaceX have with 2,000 Cybertrucks? How do you justify that when SpaceX revenues come from you and me? I mean, we have spent billions with SpaceX. and they're turning around and buying cyber trucks. So yeah, we're going to let that one marinate. We're going to keep working on it. This is looking bad, folks. I mean, this is looking like the kind of thing that ends up in court. This is really. I mean, this is looking bad. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on it. It will be the major focus of a future show. What I want to talk about today is actually a lot scarier. It really is. When we've talked about Donald Trump and we've talked about his mental decline and physical decline, everything that's been going, you've got doctors speculating on what drugs he's taking. Everybody is pointing out that the just, I mean, you're talking about his cankles rolling over, his shoes. You're talking about being, point his catheters showing up through his pants, pee bags shown strapped to his calves. It's just one thing after another, after another, after another. The whole MRI disaster, the fact that he can't keep talking about the multiple cognitive tests that the doctors keep giving him, and they don't, and again, they don't give you cognitive tests just because it's Tuesday and they're bored. There are symptoms that lead them to give cognitive tests. I mean, we've got a problem, folks. We really do. And this government seems to be absolutely rudderless. Everything we see out of department after department after department, it shows the people that Trump has appointed are doing whatever the hell they, you got Pete Hegseth and uh, the disasters that are going on with this drug war, and then an attack in Nigeria that we didn't need to participate in. The Nigerians had this under control. I mean, it's one thing after another with the Department of Defense, that is just awful. I mean, we're murdering people. We're murdering people. And immigration, you've got Stephen Miller and Holman out running around, just basically doing whatever the hell they want to do because their boss, Christy Nome, is dumb as a box of hair. I mean, Turkey Neck is not a leader, folks. She isn't. She's never been a leader. Everywhere she's one of those failing up people. Everywhere she's ever been has been a disaster because she's manipulated by outside forces. She's not a leader. I mean, the Department of Homeland Security, you're talking about next to defense, the largest department in our government is, again, virtually rudderless. And it's the way this government just operates. It is. Ali 1976, freaking evil lives forever. Not in this case, I don't think. I mean, Trump is looking bad. Trump is looking bad. But you can just go. I mean, we've had issue after issue after issue. We keep talking about these departments and the screw ups and the failures, and it keeps coming back to the same issue that they're just running themselves. I hear you, brother. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. This is not something that is, this is not a small deal. It's not a small deal. And I just want you to keep that in mind as we talk about what's going on, because what's going on with the Kennedy Center is more than what the press wants to talk about these things as though, they always look for a one liner. They always look for something simple, something salacious, something, they never want to, dig in. This is why, guys, I have immense respect for Rachel Maddow. And whenever we do something like this, I always say, we're going to Rachel Maddow this shit. We're going to dig in deep to it. That's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about the Kennedy Center and what's going on there and how it's actually just a spider web of influence, and these people that are, look, American executives aren't well respected around the world. They aren't. American oligarchs aren't well respected around the world. We've got a reputation. We're not seen as being the smartest and the brightest in the room. We're not. We're seen as easily manipulated. We're seen as ideologues. We're seen as people that don't big picture things well. We're easily beaten. We don't carry a really great reputation around the world. We just really don't. Not especially among the billionaire oligarch class. Just keep that in mind as we talk about this. This is the latest to come out of the Kennedy Center. This is the latest to come out of the Kennedy Center. If you aren't aware, we had a musician that does a jazz jam every year, and when they renamed it after Trump, he canceled. He said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be part of it. I'm just not going to be part of it. Chandra Patton, thank you for being here. Thank you for always being here. Looking good, Texas Paul. Here's for the new year. Cussing jar. Love this awesome community. I am super glad you are a part of it, Chandra Patton. I really am. But y'all may have heard of this, and it was just kind of a blip in the news. And then this happened. And it's one of those things that make you say, huh, really? There's a reason they're in full freakout mode about this. The Kennedy Center is in trouble since Trump took it over. They are bleeding revenue. They're bleeding support. And this is an open threat because they are scared. You know, if you're an event center that is healthy, if you're an event center where everything is going well and somebody cancels, you're like, screw you, buddy. Good luck booking another time. The only reason you would turn around and sue somebody is if you're in trouble and you're trying to scare other people from canceling, which is what's going on. I mean, it's flagrant, it's obvious, it's out in the open, it's easy to see. Daryl L. Curzon, thank you for being here. Love to see new supporters showing up, man. I really do. Do the Matto thing, Texas Paul. You are on it. We're going to connect some dots today. We really are. We really are. Forgive me. I got me on this damn medication. It gives me dry mouth. It's awful. Ugh. But look, let's take a look at it here. The Kennedy Center is headed by a guy by the name of Richard Grinnell, and that's going to set off alarm bells. You folks know, you have heard of Richard Grinnell before. And him running the Kennedy Center, and this is one of these situations where Kennedy appoints, or Trump appoints this guy to run the Kennedy Center, and it turns immediately into, again, a rudderless ship. See, at his core, Richard Grinnell is just like Kash Patel. He's a right-wing shit poster. But Republicans keep appointing him to important jobs, and he keeps failing miserably at them. But it's more than just being a right-wing shit poster. He's a right-wing shit poster with ties to Putin. Stick with me. Stick with me. Pamela K., thank you for being here. Thank you for the effort to educate people about the dangers of this evil SOB. So you've got Richard Grinnell running this center, and this is the first thing he does. And remember, every accusation is always a confession with these people. It is. This happened right away. They took over the Kennedy Center, and they said, oh my God, they were corrupt. It was just fraud. They claimed revenue that wasn't there. I mean, they made a lot of accusations. We're going to take this to the law, is what they said. This is going to lead. This will be a criminal investigation, and then nothing, because there wasn't any of these allegations happening. I mean, the stuff they alleged was absolutely a crime, yet no criminal investigations happened because there was nothing there. And it didn't intimidate the former leaders of the Kennedy Center. They just came out and said, bullshit, prove it. Kind of like Bill Clinton with the Epstein files. Bill Clinton's come out and said, look, you are besmirching my name with this shit. Release the information so I can clear my name. They didn't back down. And that's how I keep telling Democrats, don't, as a side note here, don't hope any of this goes away ever. Don't ignore stupidity. The answer is to run at it. It is to run at it, and run at it hard. Thanks for the support, LJ Jones. I appreciate you. Can't do it without you. Can't do it without you. But yeah, this is Richard Grenell. And when I say he's a problem, I mean he's a problem. Trump appointed him ambassador to Germany, where he promptly got into trouble with, had an investigation opened up on him, had a leaking probe opened up on him because he sent he sent sensitive information to another right-wing shit poster to put information, into the, I keep telling you, narratives are so important. Narratives are incredibly important. So he's linking sensitive internal State Department information, and the Germans had a fit about it. I mean, just absolutely had a fit about it. This is the key paragraph, key takeaway from that article. Sensitive but unclassified. 2 years into Grenell's tenure as ambassador to Germany, he came under scrutiny again related to Iran. Again, all the bullshit that they ginned up about Iran that your drunk uncle believes. According to the State Department's Inspector General report that I obtained, the details of the investigation have not been previously disclosed. The probe, conducted jointly with the Bureau of Diplomatic Security's Office of Special Investigations, was opened on March 10th, 2020. Grenell had pasted a sensitive but unclassified State Department cable, commonly referred to by the government officials as SBU, into an email that he sent to a person who worked at a Washington think tank and was also a media contributor. Above the classification line, Grenell wrote, "Thoughts?" I mean, this is the kind of person that's running the Kennedy Center. He's a right-wing shit poster that uses his appointments to feed into that right-wing narrative sphere. And that's one of the themes of what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about what we're up against, how well funded these people are. But this is also Richard Grenell. He was once appointed briefly as Director of National Intelligence. How did people forget the first Trump term? How did people forget all this? Where this happened. Trump's new spy chief used to work for a foreign politician the U.S. accused of corruption, a guy that was not allowed to enter our country. And who he's talking about is this guy. It's more than just some corrupt oligarch on the other side of the world that doesn't matter. It's this guy. Moldovan oligarch extradited to face charges over $1 billion in fraud. Talking about Vladimir Plahotniuc. I'm going to kill his last name. It's Plahotniuc. Vladimir Plahotniuc. This guy is Kremlin's boy, and he is working in Moldova. Y'all have heard of the Transnistria region. Y'all have heard about the separate. He is working to put a Trump sycophantic government in place in Moldova, and the Moldovan government is fighting for its life. We're going to go to the map a couple times. Let me give you an idea where we're talking about here. This is Moldova. This is Moldova here. It's just south of Ukraine, northeast of Romania. You get the general idea where this is. This is going to be important later on in the show, so we're going to put a pin in this and keep moving on. Yeah, he is paid by a guy that is wholly owned by Putin, who is making Putin's dreams of domination in Moldova come true. This is who Richard Grenell is. And he's running the Kennedy Center. And it's looking bad, folks. I mean, it is really looking bad. Sheldon Whitehouse has opened up an investigation into the Kennedy Center because its finances are just a disaster now that the Trump team has taken over. All you have to do is search to read this whole posting and I'm not going to read the whole posting to you. I'm just going to touch on some of the highlights, but it'd be worth it to go back and read it. All you have to do is type in this headline into Google or part of this headline into Google, and it'll bring it up, and you can just click on it and it'll bring you right to it. But yeah, they're talking about things that have gone on at the Kennedy Center. Down here, we'll call your attention to it. Steeply discounted event rentals for well-funded political allies like News Nation. Again, going back to that theme this is the shit I'm competing against. This is the stuff I'm fighting against on the right. You get guys like Richard Grenell that, not only am I out freaking gun monetarily, but these people are utilizing their offices in broad daylight to do things like, I don't know, give News Nation cheap to no rent at the freaking Kennedy Center. I hope you can understand how useful that is if you're trying to push bullshit out into the America's political consciousness. The ability to rent a place like the Kennedy Center for for events where you do fundraising and pump information out into the sphere, that is hugely valuable if you're pushing propaganda. Then you've got tens of thousands of dollars spent on luxury hotel rooms, lavish meals, and entertainment for friends and newly hired staff. The Stakes and Merlot narrative that we've been talking about, how you've got corporate news that are doing softball interviews, then you find out that while they were doing the interviews, that they were guests of the people that they were actually interviewing, and went out to high-end steakhouses and drinking Merlot, and it's the constant grift. Work contracts funneled to personal friends that are costing the center tens of thousands of dollars each month. Yeah, they funnel revenue into, here we are banging it out. Here you are supporting the show. Here you are making this happen. They're taking money directly out of these organizations. And that is going to be a huge theme of this show. We're going to talk about how money gets funneled into these groups like crazy. Doing things like this, free and exclusive use of the Kennedy Center for a FIFA event. The people that just gave Trump a bullshit made up peace prize. Yeah, they were just given free rent in the Kennedy Center to hold an event. FIFA held an event in the Kennedy Center worth about $5 million worth of rent for free. and then turns around and effusively praises Trump and invites him to an event and talks about what a great guy Trump is, and gives him the FIFA Peace Prize that doesn't actually exist. And yeah, this is how it's all funded, people. This is how it's all funded. One second. Agent Cajun John, always here with the big support, man. I really appreciate it. I got a tall ladder. I hear you, brother. I hear you. That stuff needs to be taken down. New West Bill. If, when we are able to extricate ourselves from this mess, we should leave his name on a few things so we remember. Some of us seem to have trouble remembering. Yeah. Yeah. His name should be left on some indictments, is what they should be left on. Bluebird, glad to see a new supporter now from our European audience. Had lovely news-free Christmas. Now ready again for Trump's madness, or no? I am not. Great hope in your midterm elections. Let 2026 be a much better year. Man, I am working for it, man. 2026, you're going to see some changes around here. You are. You're going to see some changes around here. We're going to go into this just a swinging. But look, those accusations that Richard Grinnell levied, they came from this person. And this is what I want you to understand, the web of both influence and financial support that is at work here. We're going to illuminate some of this. We're going to turn the lights on. Dollar Straws, thanks for the support, man. I really appreciate you. Yeah, no shit. Write his name on the trash cans. I want to introduce you to somebody. This is Donna Arduin. She's the chief financial officer now at the Kennedy Center. The Kennedy Center that's financially blowing up, that seems to be now a hotbed of corruption. And it's about to be all over the news for this corruption. This is the chief financial officer, and she's got a history. Donna Arduin. We're going to be talking about a shit fountain of bad ideas and how they come from the same people. This is not a large cabal. It's these same people over and over and over again. And I want you to keep in mind, folks, that when this blows up, why they're so desperate to keep this from failing, why they're threatening to sue a jazz musician for $1 million, is they know when this collapses, the Kennedy Center is famous. This is something they will not be able to avoid in the news. When it blows up, there will be investigations, and they know it. And they're in full freakout mode about that. But this is the person that made the allegations. She claimed, oh, the books are terrible, this, that, and then nothing. None of it came to fruition. None of the investigations came into fruition. It's this woman. And she has a long history of, California's budget, that budget disaster that came to be under Schwarzenegger, the one that caused, California, ask any Californian about it. They will tell you. Schwarzenegger's budgets were frickin', they came directly from Donna Arduin. That was her work. And she's done it in state after state after state. This whole government's bad, we got to slash, and shit. If Elon Musk is the father of Doge, Donna Arduin is the mother of Doge. She is the person that has been pushing for years, pumping information into states about how, oh, you got to cut spending. There's just waste everywhere. And then they never find the waste, and all the cuts they make end up being a freaking disaster. She's like Barry Weiss. She just keeps failing up and failing up and failing up. It doesn't matter how many disasters after disasters after disasters happen, because the people that fund her fundamentally at their core believe that bullshit and want it to be true. The devil of Dallas, all Fed-owned dumpsters referred to as Trumpsters. That's great. That is great. God, I love you people. Vincent Day, Vince in the house. My tithe to Paul's Church of Sensibility. Man, I tell you what, brother, it's good to see you. Good to see you, Vince. Jordan B. Miller. Trump stopped 2 more wars, the evil empire and the rebel forces. Trump made peace on the planet of Pandora. Congrats on you. Mrs. Texas Paul's Peace Prices. Thank you. Jordan, I've got to, and I'm gonna call it out, not in today's show, probably on Wednesday or Friday, but Jordan has a great sense of humor. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't want to give the surprise away. Pal Chat is what I'm going with here. Thank you for supporting the show. Pal Chat. I appreciate you for supporting the show. But look, this is also Donna Arden. She comes from ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council. Folks, if you don't know who ALEC is, we've talked about the difference between Republicans and Democrats, and why when people say, oh, all we need is a handful of Republicans to cross the line and do the right thing. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, because being a Democrat in Congress is very different than being a Republican. I'm talking about whether it's Congress or state governments or anything. It is 2 very different existences. Republicans show up to Congress, they immediately get handed a list of donors that fund their offices, fund their events. You're going to see later in the show, we're going to talk about travel that's funded for them out of these different groups we're going to talk about. They never have to worry about fundraising, ever. Democrats are constantly on the phone. Hey, I just won for office, but I still need your support. Send me a check, please. I got an election coming up. Republicans never have to do that, ever. And they don't write legislation, because groups like ALEC write it for them. Things like school vouchers. That's straight out of ALEC, man. That is straight out of ALEC. And who funds ALEC? Well, they've got corporate funders like big tobacco companies like Altria, but more famously, they're funded by guys like this. The Charles Koch Foundation, huge supporter of ALEC. It funds all of their, think about it. The shit's not free. This stuff they're trying to introduce isn't free. They've got to buy the dinners. They've got to pay for the hotel rooms. They've got to, travel. They've got to talk to these people about their legislation. None of that shit is free. And these billionaires, again, and I need you to keep in mind, our billionaires do not have respect around the world. They don't. Because they're not big picture people. They can't understand, okay, I'm good at this thing. They all, almost to a man, become arrogant and think that they're suddenly, because I was successful at this thing. Think Bill Gates. I'm successful at this thing. Think Larry Ellison of Oracle. These kinds of people. I'm successful at this thing, so therefore I know better than everybody. Look at this, I'm a billionaire, so therefore all the other people around are less than me. So I know what to do in government. I know what to do, and they don't. They suck at it. And this is how they screw it. I'm going to show you. Follow along. We're connecting the dots here, but I just want you to keep in mind a couple different points. Billionaires don't mean they're competent when it comes to government. It doesn't. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is our billionaires are considered windsocked, easy manipulatable. They don't have moral compasses, although a lot of them pretend to. I'm all about Jesus and God, and I mean, and it's bullshit. It is bullshit. But they're just easily controlled and manipulated. 5 p.m. somewhere. How many incompetents can Trump fit into a clown car built by Tesla? Oh man, I hear you, brother. Chris R797, thank you for the support, brother. I really appreciate you. All you new supporters are, I mean, you give me hope, man. You give me hope. But I want to introduce you to two people you've never heard of. This is Lind and Harry Bradley, and they are super important and central to this story. This is Lind and Harry Bradley. Now, these two guys around just after 1900 started a company. That's why this is an old black and white photo. They're long dead, by the way. They started a company, and by World War II they were making electronics. And they made a lot of money in World War II, and they built their company up. Their company was forgive me, the Allen Bradley Company. And that's important. You need to keep that in mind, okay? The Allen Bradley Company was sold to you never heard of it. You don't know anything about it. You've never heard of it. It was sold to another company that you have heard of. It was sold to Rockwell in the 1970s for $1.65 billion. New West bill, we should start a national waste disposal company and write Trump train on the trucks. I love you people. I love you. Y'all have such great ideas. But Kaylee's dad did the same God thing. Yep. Always selling some God, man. Always. And we're going to get to the messaging here in just a minute. But the Lind and Harry Bradley Foundation, something you never heard of. That $1.65 billion when the Bradley brothers died went into this foundation. And this foundation, we've talked about the $1 billion donation that the Heritage Foundation got. These billionaires, for some reason, think it's their calling to shape society and control government. And they do this shit. And I just want you to have an idea of just how much money we're fighting against. They take this $1.65 billion, and that was back in the 70s, folks. They don't publicly disclose what they're worth now, but imagine what that $1.65 billion is worth now. And it is part of this foundation, the Bradley Foundation. And the Bradley Foundation is run by these people. Several of them you'll recognize them. James Barry here, you'll recognize his face. James Barry and Reed Ribble are the reason Wisconsin Republican politics is so shitty. I mean, those two are these are the board of the Bradley Foundation. These are all people that run companies around the world. They are the narrative. I'm telling you, these people are out there running companies. So they're good at one thing, and they build these companies, and they suddenly think that they should shape our society, that they know best. Just because you start a company doesn't mean you are a big picture emperor of the universe. But these people just convince themselves. And I mean, take a look at this board. It's like all white, all white, all white. But I want to call your attention to a couple people on this board. You know, you've seen people like James Pope and his work. I mean, these people are the shit fountain of bad ideas that have been plaguing us for decades on the right wing. But there's a couple people I want to draw your attention to here. This guy, Eugene Scalia. Yes, I mean that Eugene Scalia, son of Antonin Scalia. You know, all those horrible Supreme Court decisions, their kids, they all go on. You know, like Barron Trump is suddenly a millionaire. They keep this club, they take these kids and they fail them upward. And you've got Antonin Scalia, Eugene Scalia sitting on the board of several organizations, including this multi-billion-dollar foundation you've never heard of. And someone else I want to draw your attention to is this person right here, Cleta Mitchell. Cleta Mitchell. Cleta Mitchell has been a pox on our country forever. Forever. We're going to talk about Cleta Mitchell, and we're going to talk about somebody else. This is somebody I want you to pay close attention to. We'll go to the Bradley Prizes. This is the way they hand out that money. These are the kind of things they do. Let's go to the recipients of the Bradley Prizes. Uh-oh. Christopher Rufo. Christopher Rufo. If you watch the show regularly, that's a name you've heard of before. That is a name you've heard of before. This is where the dots start to spread out, and I need you to kind of follow me. We're going to do one at a time here. We're going to look at Cleta Mitchell, and then we're going to look at Christopher Rufo. This is Cleta Mitchell, by the way. She's one of those people that's also every organization you see that is pumping bad fucking ideas out onto our country. Somewhere in that organization, you find Cleta Mitchell. This is her involved with Heritage, or pardon me, the Federalist Society. This is her involved with the Federalist Society. She's one of the key speakers at their America 250 event. But this is by far not even close to the things that you know she's influenced and her sphere of influence before. Just from her, this is their own. This is what they say to each other when they're selling these people to each other. This isn't meant for you. This is meant for the broligarchs. This is meant to this is the stuff that they pump out when they say, okay, we're going to have Cleta Mitchell come speak. This is who she is. This is from their release. So don't think I'm just making this shit up or this is some left-wing organization or fake news. This is like them pumping her resume out there. Miss Mitchell has extensive experience on the federal lobbying and ethics law enacted by Congress in 2007. Yes, that is right. You know, the lobbying laws that are just absolutely destroying our government? Cleta Mitchell wrote those. Cleta Mitchell wrote those. Miss Mitchell authored the Lobbying Compliance Handbook, published by Columbia and Columbia Books in 2008. Miss Mitchell represented numerous candidates, campaigns, and members of Congress, as well as state and national political party committees. She has served as legal counsel to the National Republican Senatorial Committee and the National Republican Congressional Committee. Miss Mitchell served as co-counsel for the National Rifle Association in the Supreme Court case involving the 2002 federal campaign finance law. And she also sits on the board of this foundation you've never heard of that's worth billions, that just pumps money into the right wing sphere to guys like Christopher Rufo. Now, if you don't know who Christopher Rufo is, I'll go back. We did a whole show on this guy and where he comes from and where his money comes from. This is where he first got his first injection of cash. And this is where your drunk uncle, your drunk MAGA uncle, gets most of his bad information. Christopher Rufo, if the right wing information sphere is poison ivy, Christopher Rufo is the roots of that plant. One second. Jody K. 4949. The Savage Peace on Prime, a 1945 documentary post World War II. Revenge of German collaborators by the citizenry of liberated Europe. Payback is a bitch. I can say bitch. It's my show. I can say bitch. Sorry for gulping into the mic. I apologize. Been working on that. You notice I've been better about that. Whew, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. Mine is banging this morning. But yeah, this is Christopher Rufo's origins, where he really became something with funding from guys like this. This is Paul Singer. He's the sugar daddy behind the Manhattan Institute. We've talked about the Manhattan Institute before. This is, if you don't know who Paul Singer is, this is he's a billionaire, ruthless guy, absolutely ruthless guy. Again, thinks he's a master of the universe. This is Samuel Alito on a fishing trip with Paul Singer. Paul Singer just gave him a free seat on a private jet, flew him to Alaska. That's a long flight from Washington, D.C. to Alaska. Flew him to Alaska and they went salmon fishing together. But, of course, this has no influence whatsoever in the positions that Samuel Alito takes. I mean, it was just a couple bros hanging out, man. Just a couple bros hanging out, don't you know? And this is Christopher Rufo, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. And his work at the Manhattan Institute, if you don't remember the previous show or you're new to the audience, Christopher Rufo specializes in backlash politics. And what that means is white grievance, bigotry. He's really good. His two big claims to fame are CRT, you remember critical race theory? You know, that thing your drunk uncle doesn't understand, but always talks about critical race theory, somehow in his mind is like reverse racism and DEI. Those two narratives that got pumped out to everyone and everywhere so that idiots that have nothing to do with politics, your MAGA relatives, are talking about DEI. That comes from Christopher Rufo. He has a presence over on X, pumps information out, and these talking heads on the right that and keep getting busted for being, I don't know, paid things like being paid from Russia. The guys like Charlie Kirk and all these guys, they're not smart guys. These are not deep thinkers. They aren't. It's Christopher Rufo that feeds them their information. The right wing sphere is the poison ivy poisoning our country. Christopher Rufo is the roots of it. So let's take a look. I mean, again, the Bradley Foundation slaps him a multi-million-dollar reward. Then you've got the Danube Institute. What's important about the Danube Institute? Something you've never heard of. That's Viktor Orban's. That's as in the Danube River in Hungary. This is Viktor Orban. dumping money. Christopher Rufo went and stayed for a month in Hungary. You know how expensive that is? I mean, I want you to think about that. And of course, Christopher Rufo doesn't stay in cheap places. He took his whole family with him. There's pictures if you want to Google it, Christopher Rufo in Hungary. Just dumping, just raining money on these people that are pushing these narratives out there. And then I got people on our side that wrap my knuckles because I'm going to put some pins out so that we can keep a narrative going. And they're like, oh, merch. Fuck, man. I don't have the Danube Institute just pissing money on me. I don't. I got to pay for this. This shit ain't free. Pisses me off, man. Just pisses me the fuck off when people say shit that have no clue what we're up against and how their shit is funded. Tiger Butterfly 44, people need to check into their state's voting rights because the DOJ Civil Rights Division is filing lawsuits against the states that won't hand over their private voter data. 8 states handed over data, follow Democracy Docket. Yeah, Democracy Docket does good work. You know, you'll notice I do that shit. I'm not one of these, right? How many of these other groups or people do you ever hear? Hey, go listen to old Texas Paul. He's good. No, that's a problem we have here. We don't have the funding. George Soros isn't real. This is why they keep talking about George Soros. They think this shit is real because it is real on their side. You have billionaire oligarchs just pissing money on these people. But on our side, we've got a real problem. You'll notice I tell people all the time, yeah, go listen to Democracy Docket. Go listen to Midas Touch, man. Midas Touch is fantastic. I am constantly propping people up because these people do not have this kind of funding and support behind them that the people on the opposite side that we're battling against do. They don't have what I'm showing you. And instead of, boosting each other and elevating it, so many people on our side are just like, me, just only pay attention to me, only focus on me. Now, bullshit. I want you focused. I want good information coming to you from any avenue. Because, man, we are massively outgunned in this fight. Massively. Another good article that you want to go back and read. Contracts between Hungarian nonprofit and Christopher Rufo. Others raise foreign agent concerns. You think? Because after Christopher Rufo, funded by, again, another American billionaire oligarch who thinks he understands the big fucking picture, but doesn't. Paul Singer had a beef because he got into some, conflicts over the way he was going after some foreign governments and bonds. So he's butthurt about how dare you try to hold me to account? So he funds this shit, but he doesn't know the big picture. He doesn't. He has no fucking clue what he's doing. None whatsoever. He thinks he's got a handle on this. He doesn't. Chris Rufo spends a month again networking and working with the Danube Institute, Viktor Orban's personal slush fund, fucking get out the bullshit narrative, injecting it right into the American right wing. And next thing you know, shit, we're holding CPAC, Conservative Political Action Conference. CPAC. Y'all have heard of CPAC before. It's the Republicans' big right-wing party every year. Again, another shit fountain for bad ideas. is being held in fucking Hungary. How many right-wing talking heads have you seen filleting Viktor Orban? I mean, Tucker Carlson, good Lord, the most dangerous place in the universe is in between Viktor Orban's taint and Tucker Carlson. Judith McDonald, you're getting the money over morals. Tell the world, but the world already knows, right? I appreciate you people. I really do. I really do. Shelly A. Sutton in the house. Thank you. Appreciate you. Forgive me for the delay. Sometimes, I'm a stickler for reading people's names correctly, and sometimes it takes me a second to get through it. Sometimes I just absolutely just blow it. But again, here you have, I'm going to pull it up one more time. You have the Bradley Foundation that you've never heard of, worth billions of dollars, pumping money into Christopher Rufo, who is in turn pumping money into the right-wing information sphere. You've got the Kennedy Center and Richard Grenell. Where is it going? What's the point behind it? Well, folks, it comes down to this. It comes down to this. Remember this map we talked about? I told you it's heartbreaking, but it's probably going to come true. This is important. This is the map that Volodymyr Zelensky produced in his peace proposal, where all of that in red becomes Russia. You know, folks, there have been a lot of narratives about what this is all about, and a lot of people that are talking about Putin is done, and folks, Putin is fucking winning, man. He is. He's going to get this, and I want to show you on a map. I want you to keep that whole curved, section in Crimea and why it's important. Why it's important. This is, again, go back to Moldova and Richard Grenell and his broligarch. This is Moldova. I want you to pay attention to the geographics. All of this curved area, then you've got Moldova. And Putin is, the Moldovan government's fighting for its life. And who do they have supporting them? They've got Europe, the EU, which really doesn't seem to get the fight that they're in. They just don't seem to get it, man. And then you've got Trump, Dementia Donnie, who's freaking dying right in front of us, who's so easily manipulated, they stick his name on the side of the Kennedy Center and tell him he's important. And he puts a guy like Richard Grenell in charge of it, who has ties to the broligarchs that are working to hand Moldova over to Putin's sycophants. Now, this map is going to get really important because you've got Moldova, you've got this curved area of Ukraine that is Russia is going to take as Russia. You've got Moldova, Romania, they've already got influence in. Hungary, Viktor Orban cannot lick enough Putin taint. Anything Putin wants, he gets out of Hungary. Even though the EU, we've talked about this in previous shows, the EU has dumped tons of money into Hungary, automobile plants, battery plants, engine plants. And yet here you have Viktor Orban still working as an agent of Vladimir Putin, still affecting our politics, still doing his bidding. The EU just doesn't get it. I'm going to come back to this. But before I do, I want you to take a look at Slovakia, just north of Hungary. Just north of Hungary. This is Robert Fico. This man runs Slovakia. And he absolutely is a Putin sycophant. He absolutely is a Putin puppet. He is part of the EU. You wonder why the EU cannot stand up in Ukraine. Why the only support they give them is just enough to keep Ukraine from losing, but not enough to win. Robert Fico and Viktor Orban are both leaders of countries, Slovakia and Hungary, that are part of the EU. Aaron Hanna, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your support. We've talked about Robert Fico before. We've talked about his politics. We've talked about his sycophantic nature and how he just, he cannot stop supporting Putin. 100%. If Putin wants it, Fico does it. He absolutely does it. John Branch, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the show. I'm truly grateful. But again, back to the map. It's important that we follow this step by step. Ukraine, Russia's going to act like they're offended by this and don't, but this is absolutely what Putin wants. Absolutely, he's going to take this win because you've got Eastern Ukraine that arcs over into Moldova. He's already got influence in Romania. Moldova will fall under Putin's influence. And you've got his billionaire oligarch that is pumping money into our politics via Richard Grenell is going to help him do it. Then you've got Hungary, you've got Orban, Slovakia, you've got Fico, then you've got Czechia here. Czechia. Now we're as far west as Austria now, people. You wonder why Poland is so aggressive. You wonder why Poland is screaming to the EU, we have to get in this. We cannot let this happen. These dominoes start falling. You're not going to be able to stop them. This is Czechia, folks, right here in Central Europe. Czechia. This is the leader of Czechia. This is Andrej Babis. This is Andrej Babis. And Andrej Babis, he's busy, man. He is busy. And you wonder why Ukraine can't get the support that it needs. But Andrej Babis of Czechia, man, he is busy. Part of the EU. He is part of the EU. Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babis gradually distances himself from support for Ukraine. The former Prime Minister of Czechia, he was very pro-Europe. He was very anti-Putin. He was very much a supporter of Ukraine. Not anymore. That domino fell. You're going to see less and less support. So you're like, why? Why is Volodymyr Zelensky cutting a deal that ends up giving up land? We don't want that. They don't want that. Why are they doing it? This is why. He can count, people. He can see the number of countries that are just falling one right after the other under Putin's control. No, not Chechnya. That's in southern Russia. That's south of Russia. Chechnya is south of Russia. We're talking about Czechia. Used to be the Czech. Remember Czechoslovakia from back in the day? When they split up, that became Czechia and Slovakia. Folks, he is reconstituting the Soviet Union. He is. He is reconstituting the Soviet Union. And he's already as far west as Central Europe. Czechia is as far west as Austria, folks. It is Austria's northern border. ET, in many ways, it is the same kind of thinking in Western Europeans towards Eastern as it was in the U.S. when it came to electing a black man. Simple and short versus complex and long-term thinking. Nailed it, brother. Nailed it. Rena Scott. I have read about all of these people in companies. Thank you for connecting the dots. Happy New Year. That's my job. That's what I do. But folks, I mean, it's a big deal that you've got Richard Grinnell, this guy who's on the payroll for this guy. It's a big deal that he's running the Kennedy Center, that he's stroking Trump. Because, man, again, just to rehash the situation that we're in, the DH 111, thank you for being here. Outside listening with my smoker, my smoker going, glad to hear people that sound like me, not up Trump's ass. I'm glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here. But folks, are you starting to see it? Are you starting to see just how much influence and how these webs of influence and how we've got these billionaire oligarchs working towards their goal? They're literally uh, and the Lind Harry Bradley Foundation is just one. There are dozens of these things out there. These oligarchs think that they think that they've, the DeVosses, you know, Nancy DeVos and her brother Eric Prince, these people think they've got a bead on things. They think they understand, and they don't. They don't have a fucking clue. And when it all falls apart, when the next world war starts, these people are going to be, we didn't know. Of course you didn't know. You're idiots. You're idiots. And your enemy and your competition know you're idiots. They know you're greedy and selfish and short-sighted. They know. All they have to do is tell you that you're fucking incredible, man. Look at what you built. Oh, you built $1 billion company. You're a fucking god. This is what we're fighting against, people. This is literally what we're fighting against. This isn't this isn't just a bunch of right-wing talking heads that are just pulling shit out of their ass. Glenn, I appreciate the support, brother. I really do. Thank you. You're gonna have to phoneticize this for me. I'm gonna kill this. Boboka is what I'm gonna go with. Boboka 305. So many crappy people in the world, such a waste. Good luck to us all. Folks, Putin has reconstituted the Soviet Union. He has. He has. He's going to make this peace deal in Ukraine. They're going to claim, "Oh, this isn't what we want," and they're going to give Trump this. Trump created peace. No, Trump has set us up for the next world war. The European oligarchs that are just as selfish and just as short-sighted as ours have set us up for the next world war. Putin's influence already reaches all the way into Central Europe. And in our country, you have your drunk uncle who feeds off this same stupid shit. Sally S24, Truth and Humanity. Thank you. Thank you for being here and supporting the show. William G. Atheist 1314. Zelensky was in Halifax this morning receiving another $2.5 billion in aid from the Canadian people. You know, we've got our Canadian brothers and sisters that are trying, have been sounding the alarm, our Mexican brothers and sisters that have been sounding the alarm, saying, "Look, man, you're fucking up. You're screwing up." Agent Cajun John, if so, what is the EU preparing for? It seems like no dialogue is coming out. You know, the EU just doesn't get it. They're Neville Chamberlain 2.0. They don't get the big picture. Poland gets it. Poland is screaming as loud as they possibly can. We need to end this threat now. We need to nip this in the bud. But the EU just doesn't seem to get it. And more importantly, just like they infect our politics, they infect European politics. They do. Russia has reached in through its influencers, through its satellite influencers, into European politics. Right now, you have in France and Germany resurgences of just straight up Nazis, man. Between Marine Le Pen and her front and the AFD, both of them are surging. Denmark just had an election where the right wingers took additional power. The extreme right winger took additional power. They don't get what's coming. You know, you take somebody like these AFD people, and they've got their white grievance. Because, yeah, when Western advancement happened, all of the people in the eastern end of Germany kind of got fucked. They did. They've got a legitimate economic beef. They do. But this whole blame it on racism thing, that's just appealing to the stupidest among us. You've all seen that cartoon with the two guys sitting across the table. It's got a white guy and a person of color on the other side, and the billionaire sitting in the middle. The white guy has one cookie. The billionaire has a plate full of cookies, and he's whispering to the white guy, "Be careful. That guy over there wants your cookie." It's the same fucking narrative, man. It's country to country to country. Marine Le Pen has been selling that. Her dad sold that shit forever. White grievance. And it's all it is appealing to the worst in people, telling them that they're the best of people, just so you can keep them distracted, just so you can keep them from not paying attention. That, folks, the Soviet Union is back. It's already back. Richard Lawton in the house. Thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for always being here to support the show. But yeah, Our corporate media is going to fail us miserably. They are. They like little short headlines so that they can just talk to the people. This is why I keep saying, this is why I talk to you about these things. Could you imagine one of the stupids trying to sit through this and connecting these dots, seeing how we've got our billionaire oligarchs that think that they're masters of the universe, trying to control our culture, that have no fucking clue that they're actually doing the bidding of our enemy. They're actually doing the bidding of our enemy. They're setting us up for weakness. We have a real problem, especially on the right, with very short-term thinking. China and Russia, they think very long-term. They think very long-term. And folks, this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. When I get mad, somebody says, "Oh, you just want to sell some coffee cups." Goddamn right I do, man. You damn right I do. I don't have billionaire oligarchs pissing money on me. None of us on the left do. None of us do. But yet, when the people that we're talking to that aren't you see them on social media. You see them. You see them on social media. Oh, that money's bad, or they took money from this group and they took money from that group. It's bad. It's like, fuck, man. We're in an ass kicking contest and we got no pants on. And our corporate media is sold. They're going to try to find a little talking point in this Kennedy Center thing. They're not going to go back. They're not going to Rachel Maddow of this shit. They're not going to go back and look at, oh, this Richard Grenell guy who's handling Trump by putting Trump's name on the side of this building and stroking him. And, oh, you're going to be important in New York. You know how important New York is to Trump. You're going to, oh, yeah. They're not going to put together that what's going on at the Kennedy Center is actually an influence operation. And this is why they're so desperate about investigations, about failing, that they're desperate enough that they're going to sue some jazz musician that don't want to play there for $1 million so that they could try to threaten people to make sure that nobody else pulls out. They're trying to intimidate people because they are desperately scared of investigations and ties that expose investigations that expose their ties or expose where the money is going, which they're funneling money into other right-wing, like News Nation. They pump out shit all day long. That is what Putin wants injected into our conversation. And over and over again, you see it working. How many countries have we soured relations with? Not only is Trump an economic disaster for both our government and business, I mean, he's bankrupting our government. But how many relationships has he soured throughout the world? How much moral high ground has he ceded? Because he's got dementia and he's not in control. And you've got guys like Pete Hegseth just making fucking decisions. Fox News talking head running our Department of War. How easy do you think he is to manipulate? You take a drunk whose big achievement has been to be paid by a billionaire oligarch to just spew fucking talking points that come straight out of Russia. 5 p.m. somewhere. If we build a golden submarine in the president's name, would it submerge and never resurface? One can hope. Oh my God. That is rough, man. That is rough. Amy says if you can't drink their whiskey, screw their women, take their money, and still vote against them, you don't belong in politics. If you can't do the right thing, you don't belong in politics. That is why I keep beating this to death. This is the kind of thing that's in my mind when I'm telling you things like, look, we got two parties here. One has completely sold its fucking soul. And then we've got another one over here that ain't perfect. It's not. But still, they're doing 90% of the shit that we want. And they do the right things when they're elected. I mean, think about, I mean, I don't know, pick Gaza, pick Gaza. The Democrats went from building floating docks to deliver food, and for the first time ever, cutting arms sales to Israel, to what we have now with Republicans, which is Gaza is a smoking fucking hole in the ground. We're not the same. And the problem is we have people that don't know this. They're not you. They couldn't sit through this if they wanted to. They don't have this cognitive ability. They can't big picture this shit. They can't see that, oh, the guy that's talking to him about CRT is doing more than just propping up the bigots. I mean, there's more to it than that. They just want to argue about CRT. And the worst part of it is if I don't do what these people say, and Blue Sky is the worst for this. I love the energy on Blue Sky. I love the people on Blue Sky, but it is filled with these fucking arrogant people that don't understand what is going on in global politics at all. And if you do not say the shit they want you to say, or if you just try to tell them, look, man, you're wrong. Don't do this. Like I did in the last election. I kept telling them this, oh, leave it blank campaign is fucking stupid. You're going to destroy Gaza. Oh, well, the Democrats they support genocide. You know, then I'm the fucking bad guy. That's the fight we have, folks. That's the fight we have on our hands right now. Asborn Newton, thank you for being here. Trump is the leader of the moral low ground. Everything is for sales to please his ego. Grift, and stupidity. The avatar of seven sins. Thank you, brother. Thank you for always being here. It is so important that we have a reach into the European audience because, man, and I get it. I had a guy email me that was really pissed off. That was like, Europe supports Ukraine and something. And I had to explain, no, man, you support Ukraine, just like we support Ukraine. And by we, I mean, we're talking about the left. You have oligarchs too in Europe, and they don't represent your interests. When I say Europe, followed by something negative, I'm not talking about you people. I'm not talking about it. Y'all see him in the audience. They get it. Asborn Knudsen is a perfect example from Norway. He gets it. And there are people there that get it. They understand. But there are still oligarchs that are pulling this Neville Chamberlain bullshit that are leaving us in danger. So yeah, please, folks, I am not bad-mouthing the people of Europe. I'm not. I'm just talking, I'm drawing parallels between what's going on with you guys and what's going on with us guys, because it's real easy to point the finger at America and say, look how stupid. It's really hard to see that you got three fingers pointed back at you when you do that. So folks, pretty please, man, we are in the fight for our lives and we're winning, guys. We're winning. We are. As bad as this sounds and as bad as this looks, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that for a second. All the money they're dumping into this. How can they be losing? How? It's really simple. It's the same thing I keep telling you. They're fucking arrogant. They are arrogant in the extreme and cannot see the big picture on anything. Betsy DeVos really thinks that she knows what's best for American education. She is so damn arrogant because she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She thinks she's better than everybody else and therefore has the right to make these decisions about our society. And they're too freaking arrogant to see how bad they are at this. That's why a guy like me, hillbilly out in the woods with no billionaire backing, can sit there and punch them in the face over and over and over again. And they don't understand it. They don't get it. They think that, well, these people got to be funded by George Soros. These people got to be funded by. Nope. Nope. It's just a bunch of us that give a shit. And those of us that give a shit have to stop pissing in each other's soup. You never hear me badmouth another person that's out there doing the right thing on the left. Ever. Ever. I lift up everybody I can. And that's what we've got to do because this is the fight we're in. And now you better understand the mountain of funding and how important it is. When I say get involved locally, how important that is. I mean, it's not a catchphrase, man. It's not. It's putting infrastructure on the ground of people that think like us, that want to do the right. It's the only reason we are winning this fight. Bluebird, Texas Paul, in my humble opinion or analysis about European Union is pretty exact. Even about AFD and our politicians are doing nothing. It's just so sad. They're killing us with our own dedication to freedom. They are. And we've got some hard conversations coming up. We really do. We have to change. We have to become a more militant party. We can't just take power again and then go back to business as usual. We can't. We have got to break the fact bad out and we've got to go to work. We have got to go to work. We have to meet them down in the ditch. They think that they can take our government and fund these groups. No. Our next attorney general needs to be a fucking knife fighter. I mean, he has got to do shit that makes us say, hey, man, whoa, us, he's got to scare us. William G. Atheist, 1314, Texas Paul, can we hear your predictions for 2026? We are going to plow Republicans under. It's the economy, stupid. It's the economy. They're sitting there selling themselves bullshit, just like they did before the last collapse, that everything's great and it's going to be okay. And this, no, it's not. It's not. You do not lose 40% of the Hispanic vote in under a year. That's how much this pendulum has swung with the Hispanic community because they showed who they are. Because you've got guys like Stephen Miller and the Republicans are just like, okay. And the Hispanic voters are, what the fuck do you mean, okay? We're going to plow them under in 2026. We really are. And I got to tell you, This is just some of these people are 100%. They're okay with Trump, engaging in extra constitutional, extra legal means of trying to hold on to power. That's who these people are at their core. That's why we have to fight so damn hard. This is why we cannot cede any ground. This is why we can't do this shit that I see on social media. And I know I get it. I correct myself all the time. Mrs. Texas Paul corrects me all the time. Dude, you can't lose your shit on these people. They don't get it. You're just pushing them away. And I get that. I understand. We've got to be the smart ones in the room, but we cannot allow these purists and these one issue voters and these people that all they want to do is come to social media and talk about the one Democrat that's fucking up and claiming, oh, that's all of them. Because it's just not true. Dave Barone, it's all about the 2025 project, aka Machiavellian theory. Yes, I get it. So look, when I tell you I appreciate your support and you are the reason I can do this, that ain't no bullshit, man. That is no bullshit. This is the thing that we're fighting against. This is why they can do things that we can't do. And I'll give you an example. This show's going to go to YouTube and people are going to watch it. But only so many people are going to watch it because we can't afford to pay YouTube to make, to promote this. We can't. We just have to do it on our merits. We have to do it on our talent. We have to draw people the way we can naturally. Rufo? Oh, yeah. He's got money to buy exposure. They also have money to pay the bot farms to amplify their message. I've got no bot farm working for me. Neither does Midas. Neither does anybody that you see on the left working. We just don't have those resources. It's just you and me, folks. That's it. But we're winning. We're winning because we're right and we're competent. John Branch, thank you for being here, brother. For the Fact Bet Fund. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. New West Bill, we must say it loud. Thank you. Thank you for always being here, New West Bill. I appreciate you, Bill. Jordan Miller, I am a one issue voter. Elect all Democrats. I saw something on social media the other day that just made me sick. Somebody was talking about that wasn't related to us, wasn't part of our community. It was another person that was talking about we need to elect Democrats. And they were swarmed. It was on Threads. They were swarmed with bots that had the message about vote blue no matter who was so bad, and that led to genocide, and that led to, and it just sickened me to see it. It just sickened me to see it because here I am, I'm sitting here watching guys like Grinnell and his ties to, Moldovan oligarchs. I'm sitting here watching, big picture. I'm watching the Soviet Union get reconstituted right in front of us and how they're injecting themselves into our politics and European politics. And I got to tell you, folks, we're going to have to go next level on this. 2026 is going to have to be like something we've never done before. We're going to have to, if we don't grow and expand and we don't start getting this message out and start becoming more militant about this and start becoming harsher on our own, if we don't stop these people that are on social, and I get it, they're on social media to vent. They want to say something they think is smart, so they repeat something that the bots put out that has been a well-polished message, and they get clicks for it. Do it. Go out to social media and put a negative comment about Democrats out there. You will get more clicks than you've ever gotten in your life, especially from young people. The right has done a really good job of pushing that narrative out there. And man, narratives win elections. And then they're not always to turn out votes. Sometimes they're just to suppress votes. The work that you people do, the fact that you can sit through a show like this and you can say, okay, I get it. Paul Rufo is at the Manhattan Institute. He's at the Danube Institute. He's also getting money injected into him from these foundations we've never heard, multi-billion-dollar foundations that we've never heard of. And what does he do with the money? He goes to social media and he pushes bigotry. He pushes backlash politics and white grievance. He's the guy that's responsible for all the stupid shit you've heard about CRT and DEI. It's straight from billionaires to your drunk uncle, to Cletus. And Cletus is sitting there thinking, he's doing something. And he is doing something. He's being fucking manipulated. He's being manipulated. So yeah, folks, this is the fight we have on our hands. It is. This is the fight we have on our hands. This is the fight in front of us. So we can do it. We can get involved locally. We can push narratives. We can push back against people on social media that are out there. Some of them are just really just venting. This is just sincerely, they're not involved with politics. They don't understand. And they're just venting. They're frustrated. They're scared. They're seeing all the things that are going on and they're just scared. Some of them are that. But a lot of this is very calculated messaging put together by bot farms that is designed to suppress our vote. We're it. Because the Democrats, I got to tell you, I don't badmouth Democrats. I don't. But I will tell you this, they have no idea that this is what they're facing. They don't. The Democratic Party has no idea how sophisticated a foreign operation is working in our country. They're waking up to it. They're waking up to it. They really are. But we are going to have to ensure that, we're going to have some electoral victories in 2026. We are. We're going to get our hands on some power. We need to use that power. Not just, we're going to restore some institutions and no, we have to go at this organization, these different organizations. We have to pass legislation that taxes the fuck out of these people. We have to expose the free travel. We have to expose the free meals. We have to expose that, you've got Judge Eileen Cannon down in Florida that is being sent by a think tank to Montana for luxury 5-star meals to sit and watch the buffalo roam. That shit's got to be taxable. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, and our next attorney general has to be a fucking knife fighter, or we are screwed. Because it isn't long before this Cold War that we're in turns hot. And right now, our enemies aren't impressed. They aren't. We've got to reconstitute our CIA. We've got to come up with a whole new bag of dirty tricks so that we can combat this on a global scale. We've got to get smarter. We've got to stop dumping hundreds of billions of $1 trillion a year into our military. We've got to cut that in fucking half and take half that money and put it into diplomacy so that we can compete against China. Because you've got governments all around us that are very fond of China. China's building infrastructure in their countries, electric grids. They're bringing them into the modern world. We didn't do that. We didn't do that. We let the selfish oligarchs in our country guide our foreign policy, and they're not big picture people, and they're losing. Anyways, folks, that's what I've got for you today. And I'm truly grateful for all the support. Ollie, 1976, time for low road Democrats to take charge. Thanks 2 times about bipartisanship. I appreciate you, brother. I really do. I really appreciate you. Ginger Red Shoes, glad to see new supporters out there. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the community. We need to promote the narrative that billionaires are money hoarders. There's plenty for everyone, but they hoard it. That is true. That is one of the narratives that we need to push. Colleen Sarah 8364. Thank you for always being here, Colleen. Saw where Trump is claiming the newest ceasefire in Cambodia, Thailand was because of him. Yeah, folks, he is so easy to manipulate. He is just gone. He is just mentally gone. He is complete toast. One second. All right. Well, folks, whew. Yeah, 3633. I cannot believe in entertainment casters, the Secretary of Defense, because that's what Fox just an entertainment venue. Fox is just an entertainment venue. I know. I mean, imagine what the world thinks looking at these people and his stupid bullshit warfighter ethos in his makeup counter in his Pentagon office. Ryan CT 203. Can you do a piece on Orban's challenger, Peter Magyar? At some point, we are, because right now Orban is facing one of the biggest challenges to his power he has ever had. Things are not looking good for next year's elections for Viktor Orban. He gets zero coverage in our media, but huge crowds are in the street supporting him. He has made serious inroads, but we'll see. Yeah, that's our bought off corporate media for you. Magyar has absolutely, he's leading Orban right now. He is leading Orban. He's not trying to catch Orban. He is leading Orban right now. And the people of Hungary are showing up for him. So again, when I say Hungary, I don't mean all the people of Hungary. When I say the EU, I don't mean all the people. You know, I would no longer want the people of Hungary condemned than I would want the people of the United States condemned because of Trump. No, I'm here. We're here. So yes, always understand there's a caveat there. If I say the EU is fucking up this way, I don't mean all of the EU. I don't. I see you. I know you're there. Pavlon 01, we're going to win, but it's going to be rough. We are stronger and we have more people than they do. Stay focused together. True, but please keep in mind that when we win, it's not over. It's not over. That's the mistake that we constantly make. That complacency that we win, we do something good, we take power, and then here they come again. Because we start, we want to focus on life, we want to focus on other things. We can never stop this fight. Ever. And yeah, what the Devil of Dallas has said about Hungary needs to be kicked out of NATO, they do. 100%. They are 100%. And yes, inform me too. Local elections are important before the midterms. You know who knows this? Russia. Our enemies know this. They fund these. That's why I say if you just get involved, you can counteract all of their efforts. You can make their efforts useless because what they're paying for is you. The what you do on the left, they're paying to have someone do on the right. I love you folks. On that note, enjoy some Texas cities at night. Please, last plea, we have got to grow our platform. I need you to hit that subscribe button. I need you to hit the notifications bell, and I need you to hit the thumbs up button. We need to get as many people in these shows as possible. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing the 5 to 10 minute video clips that are so right now I do shorts and I do lives. We're going to add that 5 to 10 minute video clip that is so popular on YouTube. We're going to add that in. We're going to add memberships. All of this stuff is happening after the first of the year. I'm going to be expanding on the Substack. We're just a lot of changes coming. We're coming out guns blazing. You're the ones that add to this community. Okay, I'll do the work, but I need you to do your part. Hit the thumbs up button. There are close to 3,000 people in here. There should already be 3,000 thumbs up already. I need your help, folks. We're doing this together. We don't have billionaire oligarchs backing us. It's just us. So let's do it. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.